Hi all, welcome back. Today I am doing a viewers requested video. A bunch of you had reached out to me requesting I do a side-by-side of the Lonely Dreamer Tarot and the Tarot Chimera deck because they are two different decks. They are two different creators and artists. But basically, these are two separate decks based off of the artwork of French artist Odilon Redon. So I thought that's a great idea. Let's do that. So let's just get into it. So I'm going to state for the record that I love both of these decks. The Lonely Dreamer I had acquired last year, and as soon as I opened it, I was like in awe, probably because I had never known of this artist before, Odilon Redon, and I was just like blown away. Like his art definitely speaks to me. So this deck has become a quick favorite of mine. This one is new to my collection. This is still, or this was a recently funded Kickstarter deck, and this was sent to me. I opened this and I was like equally as stunned and awed. The main difference is this deck is color and this one is more black and whites and monochromatic, which actually give them such a different feel. So I'm really excited to have them both. So I'm not, this isn't a comparison deck for me saying which one I like better. I love them both, and I can see me using both of them differently for separate things. And I might even toy around with like pulling together, which I haven't done yet, but this is just for the sake of comparing the artwork. So this is, I'm not giving really my opinion. Love them both. So that's my disclaimer. So the first deck is the Lonely Dreamer Tarot. This is by Melissa Wotherspoon. This is in a really nice like magnetic clamshell box. This is the first edition. There is a second edition out, which I don't have. And this was the guidebook that came with it. So these are the backs of that. And this is the Tarot Chimera. This is the Arcana of Odilon Redon, and it comes in a tuck box just like this. And this deck also had a little white book that came with it, which was, you know, decently substantial. When the deck is funded too, they will have a separate like companion guidebook, which I don't have because it hasn't been published yet. And these are the backs of this. So already, as you can see, there's a slight size difference here. So we have the Tarot Chimera a bit different in size, a little bit bigger. Do I have a traditional tarot size? Let me see if I do. Hold on one second. I happen to have my Serpent Fire right here, which I know is standard tarot size. So it looks like the Lonely Dreamer is standard tarot size, and then the Tarot Chimera is just like slightly bigger, as you can see. Okay, so both of these decks are not gilded or edged, and they both have the same really beautiful linen cardstock. You can kind of feel that like texture. They're very bendy. It's like the perfect kind of deck for shuffling. Okay, so we're just gonna do a side-by-side. I might say which one I like more or not, but again, this is just like a comparison video so you can all see the differences. I adore both of these equally. So let's take a look. We have our Fool here. Now, interestingly enough, both of these artists, so this one is Melissa Wotherspoon and this one is Natasha Roland. I hope I pronounced your name right. Completely separate artists with separate visions. And I think it's really interesting that they both chose this image for the Magician. And you can see they both, even though it's the same image from Redon, it evokes such different feelings. Like you can see some of the color here, and then this one being like black and white. I feel like the skulls like kind of are more prominent. Really interesting. And the same with the High Priestess. They both chose the same image for the High Priestess. This one's a bit lighter, and you can kind of see some like textures and images in the back. And this one's a little more of a stark black and almost like a brighter light in here. Really interesting. The Empress. The Emperor. The Hierophant. The Lovers. Now it's really interesting too, because obviously I have worked with this deck and not so much with this one yet. It's actually going to be in my September tarot edit, so I'll be working with it more. But I did notice that there are a lot of images that are the same here, which are used for different cards, which I think is really interesting. Now, it looks, I don't know if this is technically the same image has been manipulated in some way, or they're very, very similar for the Chariot. Like, I don't know what's the original image and what the artist might have done to like manipulate it in some way, but very, very similar if it's not the original of each other. Strength. The Hermit. Now I believe this Hermit, this image shows up somewhere else in this deck as a different card. The Wheel of Fortune. Justice. Here we go. So the Hanged Man was this deck's Hermit. And here's another one that is the same image. We have Death. I love the color here because it's kind of showing that like rebirth after death. But then again, like the stark black and white here, it feels more intense. Maybe it feels a little bit more prominent. I think this deck would be really great for shadow work too. So I just love them both. I can also see the horse more in this one as opposed to this image. Temperance, both very beautiful. The Devil, these are both really great depictions of the devil. And I believe this devil shows up in this card, I want to say, or in this deck, I think as Judgment. So we'll see. The Tower. The Star. Moon. Sun. Yep, so here it is for Judgment, where in this deck it was the Devil. And the World. And I believe this one shows up in this deck as a Six of Wands, which is really interesting. Okay, so now we've got our cups. And I believe this Two of Cups shows up as the Four of Wands in this deck. And I think this one shows up as the Page of Cups in this. Another thing I noticed about this deck is the Lonely Dreamer. The artist tends to kind of like add the suits in, like the cups and the swords, whereas the Tarot Chimera kind of doesn't really do that and just relies more on the artwork to really evoke the meaning of the card. Neither are right or wrong. They're both like really beautiful. And this was the 10 of Cups in this deck. And I think we just saw this one too. Was that the Page of Cups? Okay, so we've got our wands now. Yep, see, this was the Two of Cups in this one. I believe this was the World in this deck. I love this Seven of Wands. And then I believe the Lonely Dreamer has 2 Eight of Wands cards. So this is one of them. And then this is another. And I believe the Spider shows up in this deck as a different card. We've got the Nine of Wands. And the 10. And you can see the difference here. Like she's added the wands to the artwork. And this one, there's nothing added. But you can also get that sense of that like hunched over, that burden, that carrying something heavy, which is pretty cool. Page of Wands, Knight of Wands. Okay, we've got our Pentacles. 2 very different vibes. Here's another one that's similar, the Three of Pentacles. You can see here she's added the Pentacles, where here the artist has not done that. 4. Our Queen and our King. These look really nice together. I really do think I will be pairing both of them together. And then we're in our Swords. I love this Two of Swords. And then this is our Five of Swords, which showed up here as one of the Eight of Wands. Six of Swords, they both chose the same image in the boat, which is very traditional RWS. Eight of Swords, really both very indicative of the energy of that card. Nine of Swords. And this one was the Nine of Swords in this deck. This might be the same image or similar aesthetics. Queen of Swords and King of Swords. And then both of these decks have extra cards, so I'll just show some of them together, like extra oracle cards. There's just so much beautiful artwork, so I love how they both included extra oracle cards that you can choose to leave in or not if you don't want to, but they're still just really beautiful. So let's just give these a real quick shuffle. I'm not going to do a reading for the collective, but we're just going to see how they look together. See if these decks want to play nicely together. So let's see, we've got our Eight of Wands. I didn't shuffle well enough. Page of Wands and Knight of Cups. And then with this deck, we have a lot of warm colors here. We've got Ace of Pentacles, Page of Wands. Oh, we've got 2 Page of Wands. Look at that, in the same spot too. And the Devil. I think these are going to look stunning together. These are going to look really beautiful, especially during the darker half of the year, for those of you who like doing shadow work and things like that. But yeah, this is the side-by-side comparison. Let me know what you think. Do you have one of these decks? Do you have both? Do you want both? Let me know what you think of this video in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.